Hey guys, buckle up for a new episode of You and the Law Podcast, the one and only law enforcement podcast that's tackling critical policing and social justice issues and provides insights into the daily realities of policing with your host, Chief Virgil Green.
The other big story that we're following is the story of a video of a traffic stop in Hurst is now leading to more questions tonight. A North Texas woman now says she was hurt during that incident, and our Marissa Armas spoke with the woman's attorney and shares what the Hurst Police Department has to say.
It's a video that's now widely circulating online. This is the end of an encounter with Hurst police following a traffic stop in January.
Please stop.
The video shows Tanisha Thompson being pulled out of her car by the neck by a Hurst police officer.
Stop.
Moments later, several officers are seen pulling Thompson from the vehicle and taking her to the ground.
Ms. Thompson had a black eye. She had a busted lip requiring 3 to 4 stitches, and other scarring and soft tissue injuries that she's recovering from.
Thompson's attorney, Lee Merritt, says his client was driving home to Melissa with her 15-year-old son when she was pulled over for speeding while passing through Hurst. The now viral video shows Thompson taking out her phone to record the traffic stop.
She wasn't happy that she was being pulled over. She did not believe she was speeding. She suspected that she may have been the target of racial profiling.
After arguing back and forth, an officer issues her a citation. She refuses to take it. The officer then tosses it into her car, and then Thompson throws the citation back out the window. The officer tells her that's littering, and that's when the situation escalates. Thompson tries to roll up the window, and the officer grabs her by the arm while repeatedly asking her to get out of the car. Thompson refused repeatedly before she was dragged out as her son watched.
The message that this kind of arrest and brutality sends to the community, especially when it's been ratified by the Hurst Police Department itself, is that if you don't respect a police officer, if you don't show them deference, if you don't kowtow to them, then they will brutalize you with impunity.
Merritt says the officers used excessive force and believes Thompson's Fourth Amendment rights were violated.
He could issue another citation for littering, or he can do what he did, which was completely lose control.
CBS News Texas requested an interview with the Hurst Police Department about the incident, but the department declined, sending us this statement instead, which reads in part, a formal complaint was filed on January 20th, 2026, claiming excessive use of force, and an internal affairs investigation was opened. A thorough investigation was conducted. The claims submitted were determined to be unfounded, and the internal affairs investigation was closed. The department added that the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office is continuing to investigate the case. We'll keep you updated as the story develops. In Hurst, Marissa Armas, CBS News, Texas.
Hey, I want to welcome everybody to another episode of You and the Law Podcast. I'm the host of the show, Chief Virgil Green, and as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to tune in and join another informative topic tonight on You and the Law Podcast. I've got a guest who is going to be joining me to talk about this viral video that we just watched. Tonight is my guest is Carl L. King. He is the host of Kaleidoscope Radio Network. Brother, how you doing?
Doing well, sir. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and looking forward to a great conversation.
Yeah, man. You know, I know you're in the radio business, radio and music, and wanted to get your perspective about this video that we just watched. Everybody has their opinion, Carl, and sure. And so I want to get into some things that happened. But first off, this is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people will watch, and they will probably be a little traumatized by seeing a black woman being forcibly, pulled out of a vehicle
in front of her child.
In front of her, she had her son in a car who I believe he was 15. Yeah. And so, Carl, again, it's very disturbing. And I know the one thing that we tell people all the time, Carl, you're not going to win on the side of the road on the traffic. If you get pulled over by a police officer,
sure,
go to court. But everybody has their there are different opinions about that. And so, and I'm gonna play both sides of it, because I want to see, those who are listening, can chime in and give their comments about it. But at the end of the day, so this lady was traveling through Hurst, which is a suburb, and the officer pulled her over, said she was speeding. Obviously, she didn't agree with that she was speeding, and I want to say they said it was in a school zone. Now it makes, what time of the day was it? She was taking her son to get a haircut. So what time of the day was it? Was it during the school zone time? Was it on a weekend? Because again, if she was pulled over exceeding the speed limit in a school zone, obviously there was lights flashing. It looked like she had just got off the freeway, the interstate, when she was pulled over. So, there's some other things that, we'll try to find out and talk about throughout the podcast. But, one of the things, Carl, is that a lot of people, traffic stops are one that they turn into what we just saw, where more force is used than necessary on a traffic stop.
It's ridiculous. It didn't make any sense. The lady, so from what I saw, it seems as if the policeman got agitated because she was recording.
Yeah, at some point she started recording. Yeah.
Right. And they don't want to be held accountable under any circumstance.
Yeah. I don't know if he knew if she was recording. It's a possibility he did. I think what really got him was her refusal to take the citation.
Sure.
She, obviously you can tell from the beginning she didn't like the fact that she was being pulled over. She kind of had a little attitude. There's nothing wrong with having an attitude.
Absolutely, because we watch people from different communities curse policemen out regularly.
Yeah,
curse them out.
Yeah, and nothing is
and nothing happens to them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and I think again, there's a lot of people who have their opinions about certain police departments. If they feel like they're being profiled, they feel like, hey, this traffic stop was unjustified. But there again, I kind of go back to, what's the harm? And I'm going to ask you this question. What's the harm in just taking a ticket, going to court, pleading your case out in court?
I definitely concur, Chief. They'll, oftentimes, and some, not all, you can't just give a blanket statement and say all, because that's not true. Shouts out to my dad, Carl King Sr., for always instilling that in me.
Yeah.
All, son. You can't ever say all.
Yeah.
It'll never be all. But anywho.
Yeah.
She should have taken the ticket. That when she took the ticket and threw it out of the window, that gave him an excuse to escalate it, plus charge littering, and completely change the dynamic of the traffic stop.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, Chief, typically they would beat on men. You didn't see police officers. All these videos that we see out now, they're equal opportunists now, as far as snatching women, beating women out of the cars, and all that. They didn't ever do that with women back in the day. They did us men,
yeah,
especially black men, but they didn't typically do that. Typically with women, and now it didn't really matter the gender at all. It seems.
Yeah, well, and Carlin, I think the one thing that concerns me is the fact that the officer is in charge of that traffic stop. The person driving the vehicle, they're not in charge of they're not in charge of really. They are, but when I say they're not in charge of anything, that doesn't mean to just say, oh, well, a police officer can do what he wants to do. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it's for that officer to de-escalate the situation if things escalate. It's not for the officer to escalate the situation. Now, you see the lady, she had an attitude because she had got pulled over. not everybody is going to be happy with the business that you're trying to conduct. And so the one thing you can do is
being racially profiled.
Yeah, and the one thing you can do, the body language of somebody, and I pulled over a lot of people, and instantly you can tell if a person is going to be nice or if they're going to have an attitude. And if they have an attitude, why would you want to get an attitude? And now you got two attitudes colliding with each other. And so
Yes, sir.
nothing good is going to come out of that unless somebody decides, hey, let me take this back down. Let me de-escalate the situation. And so either I'm going to give you a ticket. You can go on about your business. You may not like it. Hey, you can cuss me out and do whatever you want to do because it's nothing against the law to say you can't talk to me crazy.
Sure.
But you got some police officers who feel like that, hey, now you are.
They take it personally.
Yeah, it's personal.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those situations that actually took place where it became more personal, especially when she threw out the ticket and he said, now it's littering. And now I'm gonna get to a video a little bit later on in the podcast, and it's going. In this video, Carl, was from a state trooper's dash cam back in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch this video from 1992 to see what happened in this video here in 2026, and then let's not forget what happened with Tyreek Hill this past football season in Miami.
Sure. I remember well.
Yeah, where he got pulled over and the Miami police officers became very aggressive with him. And it caught a lot of national attention. And the police officers didn't feel like they did anything wrong. And so here you have a situation, you have a football player who is not asking for any kind of special treatment. Now you have just a regular citizen who's taking her son to get a haircut. The police officer, he doesn't know that. But why did things have to escalate to where now they're grabbing her by her neck to pull her out of her vehicle?
Well, they're supposedly, trained in de-escalation tactics. For whatever reason, the training didn't show up.
It's good you brought it's good you brought up the training, Carl.
And the training is paramount in these situations. Now, oftentimes I don't know that the training really matters because they're trained supposedly properly in the right way in how to do things, but when they become personal, they do things like you see, in Minneapolis, different things with Renee Good and just different people. It just begs to question: is that even the proper role of the police? I mean, should somebody else be doing this? There's been a lot of conversation as of late about having, sort of a separate entity, if you will, to do that. To handle traffic violations. I mean, the police doing this how does a ticket turn out to you getting snatched out by the neck? Regardless of her attitude and what they think, the way she should have reacted, none of that was warranted. It was completely unwarranted. If she threw out a cup of something or a whole trash can full of stuff, it didn't require her to be snatched out by her neck by 3 men. It's overkill. It's ridiculous. They just shouldn't be even conducting traffic stops. They shouldn't even be doing it.
Well, you go back to something that you mentioned, Carl, training. That's where everything really starts at. What does my training teach me? What was I taught in training to how to handle a situation like this here? Definitely you were not taught in training to use force to grab a lady out of a vehicle by her neck, or even a man, or even anybody. You were not trained to, unless there was something turned to where you felt like your life was in
danger.
Yeah. But over a traffic stop, over a speeding violation.
Well, you look at the young man too, and I think about how the young man who was her son was in the car. He'll never forget that. He'll be traumatized from that, and that's going to affect his relationship going forward and how he reacts to police in the future. That was really, really hard to watch, really difficult to listen to, the young man pleading for his mother and pleading for the officers to stop and to not, hurt his mother. And, Chief, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm glad it didn't go worse. It could have gotten worse.
It could have.
I'm glad she wasn't killed.
Yeah, it could have. And this happened in broad daylight. Just think if this happened at night, where the officers could have said, hey, I didn't know what she had in her car. I thought she was reaching for something. And next thing you know, something deadly could have happened. And so, and again, the one thing that you mentioned, Carl, training. We're trained not to escalate a situation. We're trained to de-escalate a situation.
Right.
In this situation, it was not, there was no de-escalation in there. And all right, let's say you gave her the ticket and she threw it out the window. And you said, okay, well, that's littering. You could have went back and wrote another ticket for littering. Now, if she gave her, and she could have said, okay, I'm not going to take that ticket. Well, you know what, Carl? This is my thing. Okay, well, you don't want to take the ticket. So I'm going to probably say almost 100% of traffic tickets that are issued today are electronic. Back in the day with me, it was, you wrote a hard copy. You wrote a ticket and you gave it to that person. Then you had to submit that ticket at the end of your shift. Now everything is done electronic. So once you write that ticket,
see, I've been. You
haven't got a ticket. You haven't been pulled over a lot, Carl.
I haven't. I guess
so let me ask you this: when was the last time you were pulled?
Citizen, Chief, that I've evaded, all the of ticketry as of late. Listen. I'll be out tonight, and I'll get. Honestly, I really did not realize they were. So what they do it on their phone, the computer. I know they have computers in the car and stuff.
So every agency, now has a way of doing electronic ticketing, and so as soon as you enter all that information in, and you print the citation, that citation has already been sent to the courts. And it's been sent to the agency.
So ultimately, it doesn't matter if you take it and throw it out the window or not. If you don't show up, you're going to get failure to appear. You're going to jail for that.
Exactly, Carl.
So basically, you're creating a situation that didn't have to exist because of your machismo and lack of intestinal fortitude.
Yeah. Well, again, if she didn't sign the ticket or accept the ticket, she didn't have to sign it. Just accept it. You can sit there and say, okay, well, hey, I gave you the ticket. Now it's left up to you. Because guess what? I'm going to go on about my business. And this is how I would act. I'm going to go on about my business. And now if you're not worried about the court date, that's on you. That's not on me.
Sure.
Because
ultimately your little $50 ticket or whatever it would have been, now you're upwards in the 300-400, and
you got a bench warrant.
That's right.
Now you got a bench warrant issued for you. So just now, here's the scenario, Carl. You're driving. Let's say you're taking your son to get another haircut, or let's say you're going to work. You get pulled over for whatever reason. They run your license and come back and say, "Well, ma'am, you got a ticket for failure to appear."
Now you're the thuggish bone.
Now you done really
you're in trouble now.
So how you gonna just say, okay, well, I didn't get a ticket? Sure. Well, ma'am, it shows on this date that you were issued a ticket for speeding in the school zone. Now, okay, but it's your responsibility. Now, and I'm gonna say this, Carl. Like I said, I'm gonna play devil advocate. And I want those who are tuning in tonight to also, put your comments in the chat and let me know what you're thinking as we talk about a ticket, a takedown, and a trust crisis. Because now we got an issue of trust, because now you talked about her son, who's going to have a difficult time trusting the police officers after seeing how his mother was handled. But let's just kind of go back to, okay, you got a ticket, you were informed you had a ticket, and you didn't take care of the ticket. So let's say that speeding ticket in the school zone, which can be pretty high, let's say that ticket was a $200 ticket. Now, all of a sudden, you got a bench warrant. Now, all of a sudden, your license could be possibly suspended.
I hadn't even thought about that. So now we're upwards, and we're up into a grand something now.
Now, all of a sudden,
grand mark now.
Yeah, well, so now you got a warrant. So that means your car gets impounded.
I'd have to get an attorney.
Exactly. Now you got to bond out of jail. You got to get a bail's mom to bond out of jail.
Right.
So that ticket that would have been a $200 ticket now has turned into probably, Carl, we're probably looking at $3,000 or $4,000 now.
And not to mention, Big Chief, that it's going to also affect your
driving
insurance as well.
Yeah.
And your insurance is going to probably go up.
Yeah. And so this is another thing. And Carl, you've seen these viral videos. Some videos are good. Some videos are bad. Here's a situation where we've seen a lot of videos that went viral. Who are the people that are watching besides you and me watching that video? Who is the second most important person who could possibly see that video?
The police officers.
No. Your employer.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. That's
we've seen videos.
You've gone from getting a ticket. You don't even have a job.
Your job.
Fired.
Because somebody's going to say, well, hey, you represent, you work for our company. And that goes against our values, our community standards, or whatever it may be. Now you could be out of a job because you posted the video on social media, but now it can kind of come back and have it impact your employment. Because I mean, we've seen videos where an employer will say, oh, you're acting like that. Well, guess what? We're going to terminate your employment because some
employers, some people are pro-police. If you're working for a company and they're pro-police and possibly MAGA or something like that, or who knows for whatever reason, they could definitely terminate. Like Oklahoma is a right to work state. They can basically fire you for pretty much any reason.
Yeah,
they don't like the color of shirt you wore that day. They're
exactly
legally. And you had a blue shirt on that day. They didn't like that, and they could fire you. And legally, it would be justified. So,
and what are you going to do? What is your defense to say, hey, nothing. I was treated? The police officer used excessive force on me. Okay, now your employer really doesn't care because now people are saying, oh, he or she works for this company, and he or she has this position in this company. And is that acceptable? And somebody will say, well, no, hey, if you got employees like that, then we don't want to do business with you. So now that corporation or business is looking like, well, hey, we're not trying to lose any business because of your viral video that you put out on social media. Now it's causing us, the employer, some negative feedback. Giving a good example, Carl, I saw a viral video of a lady, and I want to say this maybe in either North Carolina or South Carolina. She goes into, I want to say she goes in to get an oil change or something at a mechanic place. Mm-hmm. The people there are really rude. She's the only Black person in the business. And I guess she stands up and she asks them, what's taking her so long? The people kind of have an attitude about it. Some words are passed back and forth. she's recording everything. Plus, the business has their own camera. And a racial comment was made when she left. Now, this lady ended up putting this video on TikTok. And you know how viral videos go on TikTok. That business ended up losing a lot of business because of their interaction with this customer. And they had to apologize. Well, the damage is already done. So just think about, here's a business that is losing thousands of dollars because of this incident. And just think about, here you are, you work for, you could work for, I don't know, any major corporation, and they say, well, hey, she works there. And by the way, what are you going to do about it? Now the employer is put in a bad position.
Well, I feel when I first saw that video, I just had thoughts of Sandra Bland. That's what I thought when I saw that video initially. Just
exactly, yeah.
Because
she was,
yeah. I don't think they have. I believe that police officers should take their personal feelings, if you can, out of the job. Like, unless obviously they're trying to do personal harm for you. Like when they get in, I saw a viral video a couple of weeks ago. It was a high-speed chase, and they already had the license plate of the vehicle. Okay,
correct.
That's enough. Stop.
Yeah. Why danger the public?
3 people got killed.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because your testosterone is at a level that can't be controlled. You're pumped up, and you want to chase why? Stop. You had the person's tag.
Exactly.
So find out the information, go to the house, pick them up. 3 people are dead for no reason. So I just wish they would take their, and I realize they're human beings. I realize that, but
well, Carl, I'll say this: you're human beings, but you got to make the right.
They're human beings, and they have flaws and fallacies just like everybody else. They're imperfect people, and we all are. Yeah. We all are. But having said that, when you have training and you're supposed to be trained, you need to follow through with your training. The training needs to be, I think, elevated, Chief, from my perspective.
Yeah.
In a lot of areas.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say this, Carl. Just think about a pilot, a Delta or American airline or whatever, a large commercial airline pilot is flying. And he or she already knows, hey, there is some bad weather that we're going to be approaching. And do I decide to go through that bad thunderstorm, or do I go around it, or do I see if I can get a lower clearance to drop from, say, 30,000 feet to 20,000 feet? Or is there another way we can go around this storm to where it doesn't cause, a lot of turbulence to where it could take the plane? A lot of planes typically just don't fall from the sky because of, a bad, severe weather, but anything is possible.
Certainly.
And let's just say this pilot decides, you know what? Hey, we can get through the storm, and they make a decision, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. It just goes left.
Right.
Now you put almost 200 passengers and crew, 200 passengers in your crew, life in danger because you decided to do something different than what your training told you that you shouldn't do. Same thing with a police officer. Your training is telling you, you're not taught in the academy, hey, every person who pisses you off, you got the right to grab him by the neck or grab him by the feet and put him in a headlock and pull him out the car.
Sure.
You don't, if that's training, if that type of training is being done, there's some agencies that's going to be facing some serious litigation because of.
Okay, Chief. I don't mean to cut you off, but that is a major problem. Qualified immunity is a big deal.
Oh, it is.
That is a big deal. And I believe, from my perspective, simple things, small changes that could lead to big outcomes. Qualified immunity is a real problem. If they would start taking these lawsuits out of police pensions, they would stop like almost overnight. They're not. I mean, when taxpayers are paying for these officers who are facing disciplinary actions, they don't really have any real repercussions. If you hit the police unions, these guys' pensions, they'll stop with the quickness. I believe that. That's just my opinion.
Well, you know, obviously there's some consequences to every bad decision. Now, unless you can say, "Hey, I made this decision based on my training or whatever," which a lot of people do. But at the end of the day, it's not right. And like you just mentioned, you know, qualified immunity is an issue that the public has some concerns about, because now police officers can just get away with treating another citizen violating their rights, and then somebody says, "Hey, there's qualified immunity." Now everybody's saying, "Okay, well, where's the qualified immunity for the citizen?" The citizen doesn't have any qualified immunity, because now that police officer just violated my rights. So where are the rights of the citizen? But the police officer has all the rights, and nobody is now. That person has to get an attorney, and that attorney has to fight on behalf of that citizen to say, "Listen, police officer, you violated my client's rights." Now the police officer is going to say, "Well, I've got qualified immunity because I was doing what I was trained to do," not specifically saying I was trained to pull somebody out of a car, but based on my training and experience, this is why I did what I did. And you're going to have some people going to say, "Well, all she had to do was comply." And Carl, I've read a lot of comments about this video. I would probably say over 90% of the people they felt like the lady should have cooperated, and she is the reason what happened. There were some comments that were, you know, pretty neutral, but the majority of the comments were that she caused what happened. And like I said, everybody has their opinion. And I think that's why we're talking about this tonight, Carl, as we talk on the You and the Law podcast about a ticket, a takedown, and a trust crisis.
I mean, Chief, tickets have been a gateway to illegality on citizens for quite some time. You have basic traffic tickets turning into death sentences. You have traffic tickets turning into. I saw this one gentleman in this one town. I shouldn't call him a gentleman because he's certainly not a gentleman. This police officer in some small town had planted contraband on over 500 different suspects.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you know, Carl, this is the thing.
Tough. This is tough. It's tough.
It is.
They should. I really believe they should look at some sort of, like, they've done some things. I don't know how widespread it is, Chief. They've done some things with removing the police department from mental health calls in some cities.
Yeah.
I don't know how widespread it is.
It's pretty widespread. Yeah.
They have removed some.
It's pretty widespread, and this really has after the death of George Floyd and after the death of there was a lady who was killed up in in Illinois.
Sure. Yes, I
can't,
know.
you know, and we talked about her on the podcast.
Absolutely, yes.
Where the police officer went to her home and she was having a mental health crisis. Her mom had actually said, "Hey, you know, she's dealing with a mental health crisis. Don't kill my daughter." She even, oh golly, I'm gonna have to look it up to remember what her name was, but she even said, you know, don't kill me. And so you've seen a lot of agencies.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, you see a lot of agencies now, especially some of the major cities. Give an example, like Oklahoma City Police Department. They have a crisis intervention unit, and those officers are trained on how to deal with people who are suffering through a mental health crisis. You don't get a normal patrol officer responding to those calls. You get somebody who is trained in mental health calls to really de-escalate the situation and get the help that person is needing, to where they don't end up going to jail
or dead.
Yeah. So Carl, I want to remind those who are just now tuning into the podcast, and for those who are tuned in on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. And for those who are tuned in on Facebook, thank you for tuning in to tonight's topic, which is a very important topic. We're talking about a ticket, a takedown, and a trust crisis. There was an incident that happened back in early in the year in Hurst, Texas, where a lady was pulled over. Her son was in the car. She's taking him to get a haircut. She refused to sign the ticket. She threw the ticket out the window. The officer said she was littering. Then they used force to pull her out of the car and charge her with resisting arrest.
He stuck his hand inside of her vehicle.
Yeah.
Stuck his hand inside of there and tried to roll her window. That's not your car. You can't just do what the doing whatever you want to do because I'm a police officer thing is.
Yeah. So Carl, and those who are tuning in tonight, I've got a video that I want to show, and I talked about this at the top of the podcast. It's from a state trooper's dash cam in 1992, and so back, in 1992, Carl, the technology was not as what it is now, where you got you have this video. It's a really good video, but now you've got officers who have body cameras on. This trooper, they didn't have body cameras back then. He had an in-car video camera. It's really hilarious to watch this video, but it goes to show you just the calmness of this trooper. And I want to show this. Now, I need to warn the audience that there is some language. How do I put this in there, Carl? You're the radio expert. Here's a disclaimer that you're going to hear.
Right.
A whole lot of, you're going to hear some cursing.
Ladies and gentlemen, some of the views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views of the show and its host.
Thank you.
That being said, you're going to hear some cussing.
Yeah. You're going to hear some cussing. I couldn't bleep it out.
If you got the kids close to you or the grandkids by you, please get them out of earshot because it's going to be some very unsavory language,
and not on the police officer's part, but on the driver's part. So
I was
So let's this is about a 4-minute video, and I want to play it all the way through because it's important to play it all the way through, Carl, and to those who are listening, because you just see the demeanor of this trooper. And this should be a training video for every police department around the country to show their police officers this is how you act on a traffic stop.
What's the date on that? I'll have to plead guilty if I got to work because I can't afford to take the day off, you goddamn asshole. Now just give me the goddamn thing, let me get out of here. I didn't do nothing wrong, and I know I did. Now let me get the fuck out of here. I ain't in no hurry, but I did want to get some kills for my dog. It's just about ready to get the fuck out of here. Give me that.
Can I explain it to you, sir, so you'll know what you need to do?
I know what I do. You're ripping me off, and I didn't deserve it because I didn't do nothing wrong. You're probably sitting out parking lot driving right back and forth to get someone in the 40 miles of whatever the frig it is. I never saw the sign. I saw it 55, and I was doing 57. That's all I know. Now just give me the goddamn thing, and I'll look at the date. If I'm working, I'll pay the fucking fine because I can't afford to take a day off. And if I'm not working, I'll plead not guilty because I know fucking well I'm not guilty. There. Now, are you a state or local? Looks like you're a state trooper. Get back and pick up some more guys and run up the friggin' deficit on the working man. Just give me the damn thing. Let me get out of here.
What I need you to do is sign the X so I can explain this to you.
There ain't no explaining. I got picked up for speeding before. You're guilty and you pay the fine and hope your insurance don't go up. And you try not to speed the next time. And that's what I've been trying to do for 4 or 5 years, and it's worked damn good until I run into you, you asshole.
Green copy's for your record, sir.
I don't, all right.
White copy needs to be mailed in within 20 days.
Okay.
Make sure you read the...
I can't read, and I put this stuff away. I get bills in the mail all the time. I don't even look at them. $7 glasses here. All right, just tell me what I do. Lincoln Court?
No.
Where?
Read the instructions here. This says you have 20 days to respond to this summons. Read the back of this hard copy. This will explain how you can have a trial if you want one. On the back, that'll explain it. Attaches an envelope. See? Put a stamp on that, you mail that in. They'll tell you what to do.
I can afford the stamp.
The fine's right here, sir. It's $137.50.
You're fucking crazy! I get it! You're fucking crazy! My wife took money out of her goddamn account where she's working to pay my fucking insurance so I wouldn't get picked up. You're fucking crazy!
If you don't pick this up, sir, I'm going to summon you for littering.
I'll pick the goddamn... 100... Are you fucking crazy? I wasn't even speeding, you goddamn asshole! $100 and some dollars? Jesus fucking H. Christ!
There's some more right there.
I've never heard of a fine like that in my life, you goddamn asshole! You fucking asshole! Let me get the fuck out of your sight, you goddamn miserable fucking... Jesus Christ! I don't mind. I feel bad for the guys out of work, and I pay my goddamn state taxes. A good fucking bunch, too, let me tell you.
I'm giving you a warning on the failure to produce insurance. That's expired.
Didn't I give you another one?
No.
My wife told me it was expiring today. She went and paid her car share, and over the grace
expired
of
on
her
the 10th.
heart...
Today's the 16th. That's 6 days ago.
The bill was due today, okay? Whatever the date on the bill due, I apparently have paid... Matter of fact, I'm sure I have a copy.
Do you want your license and registration?
Of course I do. Well, anyway, I can reduce the insurance. I probably got it here. Like I said, my wife, out of the grace of her heart, when I came home, that she had taken money out of her savings account because I'm fucking dead broke. Because the cost of living has gone up. My paycheck has gone down because we gave up double time on Sunday. Our insurance went up $20 a week 2 weeks ago, $20 to $40 a week. And that's what's happening in the last 8-10 years to the whole fucking country. They've shut down the industry. They've friggin' cut pay. Insurance has gone up. But there is hope, and I'm going to watch it tonight when Bill Clinton gives his acceptance speech, because there is hope if we can get this economy going again and start treating people fair and get assholes like you to do something decent instead of picking up some fucking innocent guy that wasn't speeding to begin with.
Bye.
I know you were dying laughing, Carl. The reason I wanted to show that, and I went back and found it, because you see how calm that trooper was. The driver that he pulled over was irate. You saw every cuss word. the trooper never took anything personal.
He did not. I can tell there was somewhere that looked like they were like in Vermont or somewhere. I could tell by the dialect. They were somewhere up north, New Hampshire, somewhere like that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
It was. He definitely was very, very composed. He was very professional, and even
that's how
even after the gentleman was insulting him, calling him assholes and everything, he actually stood there and listened to his story. He was professional, and it was.
I mean, the guy's talking about, how much money he's losing because they took overtime away.
Right. And his interest got up $20 a week.
And now his wife has got to take money out of her account because he's not making any money, and
he's dead broke.
He's dead broke, and obviously back in 1992 was when President Clinton was giving his acceptance speech for the Democratic Party. So that just goes to show you how long ago that was. And he even,
I was a sophomore at the Langston University in 1992. I'd already been in the military, so I obviously I got to college a little late. But 1992, I was on the yard of the Langston
University, the historical Black college, the only, Carl, and you are an alumni of Langston, the only historical Black university in the state of Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
And
real proud legacy, of course. Spent a lot of time out there on that hill, man, and my
on
parents,
that yard. What they call it, the yard.
Yeah, they call it the yard, man. The yard is it was awesome, man. It was a lot of fun. Fun.
But Carl, to get back to the video and what we're talking about tonight, a ticket, a takedown, a trust in crisis. That state trooper handled it the way every police officer should handle a traffic stop.
I agree.
Yes, the citizen, the person he pulled over was irate.
Mm-hmm.
He did not lose his.
He was screaming. He was just belligerent.
He was belligerent, and I mean, he would even to the point that when he told him how much the ticket was, he was just like $132. He went on and on, and the trooper never. And so I'm gonna ask you this question, and to you and to those who are listening. Would that trooper have been justified in saying, "Sir, get out the car"?
No.
Place you under arrest.
No. You can scream inside the confines of your own vehicle all you want. He didn't do anything. He didn't hurt.
Now we saw.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, more times than not, those same situations with the same content would look very, very differently. It would look very differently.
Well, and again, so let's say, this was in 1992. Let's say that was a Black driver.
It looks
who would that situation turn out differently if it was a Black driver?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Would that trooper had the same composure? Because I can probably say this, Carl. That wasn't the first time he had probably acted that way. It was probably normal for him. I mean, everybody is built different. Everybody comes from a different cut, Carl. You've got guys like him who feel, and he could have been a former military guy. I don't know, but obviously he felt like, okay, I'm in control. I'm gonna give him a ticket. And what did I tell you earlier, Carl? He gave him a hard copy ticket.
Right
now,
actually,
it's an electronic ticket.
He actually gave him a warning. Actually,
well, he gave him a warning because his insurance were expired. So he gave him a warning to say, "Hey, your insurance is expired." And the guy was like, "My wife paid it," and he was like, "Yeah, but it expired 6 days ago, and here we are 6." So he gave him a break on the insurance. But there again, Carl, we kind of go back to the first video where the lady does not want to accept the ticket. She throws the ticket out of the window. The officer says, "Hey, that's littering." Now, what would have been wrong for him to say, "Ma'am, you need to pick up"?
If you don't pick it up, I'm going to charge you with, just like that officer did.
Exactly.
Certainly.
We're dealing with the 1992, 2026. What's the difference? Other than you have a black female and a white male.
Well, I mean,
clearly she
didn't get belligerent as he was.
No, she didn't get belligerent. She had an attitude. You can tell by herself, the video that she recorded, she kind of had a little attitude, but at the end of the day,
being racially profiled.
Yeah, she felt like she was being racially profiled. So, but again, that video needs to be shown in every police academy training, and something continued to be shown to police officers. Hey, you're going to run across a lot of people who are going to get belligerent. They're going to talk crazy to you, but this is how we want you to handle yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's just a citation. And some people will say, and even in my profession, Carl, people will say, well, you just kind of dismissing. It's not just a citation. Well, it is. It's a moving traffic violation that you are writing a citizen a ticket for. They go before the judge, and it's left up to the judge to either say that you're guilty or you're not guilty, or they work out something, and the police officer actually has really no say into how that citation turns out. You issued it, and from there, it's out of your hands. It's in the hands of a judge inside of a courtroom.
Yes, that could have turned out a lot differently. And the lady actually sustained some injuries.
Yeah, she did.
I'm just glad she didn't get killed. I'm just glad she didn't get killed.
Well, and I'll say this, Carl, and this is the thing, traffic violations have turned deadly. If you can go back to what took place up in Minnesota after the death of George Floyd, you had a kid by the name of Dante Wright who was pulled over because I want to say he had, I don't know, maybe an expired tag or something. But he actually had some kind of he had a thing. No, he had an air freshener hanging from his rear view mirror.
Yeah.
So he was pulled over.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up he didn't cooperate on the traffic stop, and the female officer she thought she was pulling out her taser to tase him, but she actually pulled out her firearm and she shot and killed him. Now, this was several days or week after the death of George Floyd, so tensions is still pretty high in the Minneapolis Twin Cities area, and this took place in a city called Brooklyn Center, a suburb of Minneapolis. So now they've got riots and stuff going on, and police department is taking a lot of heat. But there again, it was all related to a traffic violation. And I'll say this, Carl, you mentioned this earlier. If you got a person's tag number, what's the sense in endangering the public to pursue that vehicle? Because we've seen where police pursuits have ended up deadly in either killing an innocent citizen or seriously injuring an innocent citizen. So you have a lot of police departments who have put in a no pursuit policy that says you can't chase anybody unless it's a felony. And even then, you got to get permission to do so.
Happened right here in Oklahoma City a couple of summers ago, a case that
it did
garnered national attention. A young lady and her baby were in the car, and police were chasing a gentleman who stole a car, I believe.
Yeah, yes, sir. You're right.
And they had all the information. Of course, it was a stolen car.
Yeah.
And they hit and killed that woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the amount of money they tried to get was insulting. It was minuscule. I mean, for a life, I mean, money won't bring back anybody, and there's no amount of money worth any life. But my goodness, man, they I mean, it was something. I want to say something like $10,000 or something. It was just literally. So you're going to kill a young woman in the prime of her life.
Yeah.
Had a family, had 3 children.
Yeah.
And they'll never have their mother again because of you and you wanting to be.
You got to catch the person. It's like, hey, we got to catch that car. And some officers will say, well, the driver is still endangering the public. And I'll say, if you know, in Oklahoma City, they have a helicopter. Not every city has the luxury of having a helicopter.
You're not getting away.
So if you can have a helicopter, follow that person, they're not going to get away. But there again, how do you make sure that you do not endanger the public? Because that person who is fleeing the police, they don't really care. So even and Carl, there's been situations where even if pursuits have been called off and a person still is driving erratic and they end up causing a collision, but at least the officer, somebody made a decision to end that pursuit, and unfortunately that person continued on the way that they were driving and ended up seriously, injuring somebody and in themselves. So again, you got to make a better choices and better decisions on making sure that you don't endanger the public. Because, Carl, you mentioned Sandra Bland, what happened to her on a traffic stop. She ends up going to jail and dies in jail. And there's still there's still a lot of things as to what happened with Sandra Bland. That same thing that happened to Sandra Bland could have happened to this mother.
Very easily.
Yeah. And so again, it could have. So Carl, I want to show this last video. And it's the incident with Tyreek Hill. And the reason I want to show this at the end is because you see the aggression of these officers and they clearly know who he is. So I want to watch this video and we'll talk about it on the other side.
In other news today, body cam footage from that traffic stop of a Miami Dolphins football player is out, and it turns out 3 players found themselves having run-ins with cops that day. Tyreek Hill was stopped by officers and forced to the ground, and when 2 of his teammates stopped to see what was going on, one of them also ended up in handcuffs, prompting many to ask if the cops went too far. Here's Amber Cogliano.
It's the just-released police body cam footage from the traffic stop involving Miami Dolphins superstar Tyreek Hill.
Hey, don't knock on my window like that, man.
Things go wrong from the first moments of the encounter.
Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Don't knock on my window. Why don't you have your seatbelt on? Knock on my window like that, man.
As one cop walks away, you can hear him tell his colleague it's Tyreek Hill. Hill is ordered out of the car, or they say they'll break the window.
Give me up and break the window. Get out of the car.
He yanks Hill out of his $300,000 McLaren sports car and puts his knee on Hill's back. We showed the video to former NYPD detective David Sarney, now a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
How did both sides fail here?
Tariq should have been more compliant, just kept the window open.
Okay.
Keep your window down.
Then it got aggressive. You could see the actions of the police went a little bit over the line for a summons for excessive speed at that point.
Hill was ordered to sit.
I just had surgery on my knee. Bro. I'm not going to tell you again to leave.
Hill's teammate Calais Campbell saw what was going on and tried to intervene. He was also placed in handcuffs, but just for a few minutes. The team is expressing support for the players. We are saddened by the overly aggressive and violent conduct. It is both maddening and heartbreaking to watch the very people we trust to protect our community use such unnecessary force and hostility towards these players. But the police union says Hill was not immediately cooperative. It is always best to obey lawful police orders and complain later. Appearing on CNN last night, Hill tried to explain why he was reluctant to lower the car window.
If I let my window down, like people walking by, driving by, they're gonna notice that it's me and they're gonna start taking pictures, and I didn't want to create a scene at all.
Gail King says, in her opinion, there was fault on both sides.
I feel very differently from what I heard yesterday compared to what I see today. I think they both should have handled it differently.
Give me up and break the window. Get out of the car.
Tyreek Hill's rep says they are considering legal action.
Carl, I know you saw that video when it happened. A lot of other people did, but I wanted to show that because again, you saw the attitudes of the police officers, and they clearly knew who Tyreek Hill was. They didn't have to run the tag on the vehicle to know, hey, this is one of our players with Miami, and he's on his way to the stadium. So why did that have to escalate to that situation? And I think again, a lot of people, everybody have we're all entitled to our opinions, Carl. But I think when you look at it from his lens, he's saying, hey, I'm a well-known, I don't want somebody driving by, taking a picture or here's a video. Next thing I know, it's on social media and I'm getting, clicks and likes because of somebody else. So clearly he had a reason for rolling his window back up. But at the same time, did it really endanger anybody? Because is Tyreek Hill going to pull a gun out on you? And he's literally a block from the stadium.
I know exactly where he was. Jazz in the Gardens is right inside that fenced area right there is where Jazz in the Gardens is. I know exactly where he was.
Yeah.
I know exactly where he was. He was at the stadium. The stadium was right there. It's right there.
It's right there. Yeah.
Turn in right. He's right there.
Yeah. And again, it just kind of goes back.
That seemed to me like they wanted to do excuse my French. They wanted to do a little ball busting. It seems to me like they wanted to be aggressive. They knew who it was.
Yeah.
And they purposely did that to show him, listen, man, you can drive cars, you can play for the Miami Dolphins, but you're still a boy.
Yeah,
you're still gonna mind and do what we tell you to do, and you're gonna fall in line, or we're gonna put our knee in your neck.
Yeah, and again, Carl, and that's you kind of go back, look at the video with that, as we talk about a ticket, a takedown, and a trust issue. All of these situations have created a trust issue between the citizen and the local police. And the only video that really hasn't really created a trust issue is the trooper in upstate. It had to be on the Maine or somewhere because of the accent from the trooper and the driver. But there again, that trooper made sure that the public trusted his actions. The incident,
stand-up guy. He did the thing. He did. He handled that traffic stop masterfully. He did. He really did. He did. Now, would it look like that? It probably would look different if it was somebody with a little brown skin.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would have been different. Let's be real, but anyway, he definitely handled it well for sure.
Yeah. Well, and Carl, again, just like with Tyreek Hill, let's say if that would have been, I don't know, let's say what was it? Tim Tebow? Didn't he play for Miami Dolphins?
I don't think so. He played for Florida football.
He played for college. I know he played for Florida. Let's just say if it was a Tim Tebow, and he was on his way to. Let's just say even
so when the guy tapped on, they were perturbed because he told them not to tap on his window like that. Yeah. He kept saying that, and they didn't like that. So to me, they were trying to put, show it was a power dynamic there.
It was.
They were trying to show who had the power and who didn't.
And the fact that you just because you Tyreek Hill don't mean anything to us. You're just another black man. You're just another football player. But let's just say if that was a Patrick Mahomes, or let's say if that was Tom Brady. You walk up to a window and you see it's Tom Brady.
Man, they would be trying to get pictures and everything. They want to get pictures and
I think a lot of when that video happened, Carl, when that incident happened, there was a lot of conversation about what if that would have been a white football player, a white quarterback like a Tom Brady or somebody else. how would that have, that scenario would not have happened like that.
Well,
It
Chief,
would
I
not.
mean, there's a perfect example of that in real time. There was a video that went viral where they showed a white gentleman walking down the street with a weapon. Okay. And
Are
they
you talking about the
showed
young kid? Are you talking about the young kid in Wisconsin?
no. This was a
Okay.
simulation. This was basically a test.
Okay.
Basically, they had this white gentleman walk in the community with a gun, and they had the same a black gentleman walk in with the same kind of gun, same street,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, as you already know, the results were dramatically different, as you
Yeah.
can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
Same
again, Carl,
scenario, the only difference,
the color of skin.
only difference was the color of their skin.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
and that's
dramatically different.
different. Well, and that's the thing, Carl. People cannot say racism does not exist in policing. It does. And law enforcement has been struggling to create a better relationship with the minority community because of that. But you continue to see videos like what happened in Hurst, Texas, with the lady who was pulled over for speeding in a school zone. Again, do you have to escalate the situation to that degree? And people are going to say, well, all you have to do is just comply with the officer. Okay. But guess what? What if somebody who don't look like her doesn't comply with the police officer and get treated totally different? And next thing you know, he or she is on the phone saying, I know the police chief, or I know the mayor, and I'm finna call the chief, I'm finna call the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And now and somebody's gonna call you and say, hey, do you have so-and-so pulled over? And they're gonna be like, yeah. Well, hey, you need to, they're the wife of a friend of the mayor, or they're a wife of the friend of a legislator or somebody. Again, we need officers to take the emotions out of it. And if a person doesn't want to sign a ticket,
so be it.
Hey, I've given you a ticket. It's left up to you. And if you don't show up to court, then this is what's going to happen. But you know what's going to happen, Carl? They're going to get that ticket. They may not even accept the ticket, but they're going to be like, let me call and find out how much this ticket is. Because they're going to talk to somebody, and somebody's going to say, well, hey, you do know that ticket is in the system now, and you may end up getting a bench warrant. And that ticket that was a $200 ticket is now going to be $1,000 ticket. Do you really want to do that? So now the mind gets to thinking,
sure,
more rational to say, well, let me call and find out how much this ticket is, because because if you are a professional person, you don't even have to be a professional person. You can just say, hey, listen, I've never been in jail and don't want to go to jail. So I'm going to call down and find out how much the ticket is. But again, the officers really need to handle their composure a lot better, and especially on a minor traffic violation, and just say, hey, listen, I gave you a ticket. Now, if you tear up the ticket, which is very rare that somebody's going to throw the ticket out the window, but even if they do, you can say, hey, I'm going to write you a ticket. And this would have been the most commonest thing to do, Carl. Just think about this. She throws the ticket out the window. You go back to your car and say, you write a ticket for littering. Then you come back up and say, ma'am, here's a ticket for littering. And she throws that ticket out the window, and you sit there and say, okay, hey, I've given you 2 tickets, one for littering, which is a non-moving violation, and now a ticket for the speeding violation. Now, it's left up to you. What are you going to do? You don't cause a scene. You don't drag her out the car. You don't now traumatize her son. Now her son is going to have a very poor image of police moving forward. Was his mother wrong? Yeah, okay. You could have just taken the ticket and went on about your business and got your son a haircut. But now you got injured, and now you created a viral video. And now here we are talking about it on You and the Law podcast about what you should have done and what you shouldn't have done.
Yeah. It was. I still don't understand what she did in order to garner none of that. Her reaction, it shouldn't have garnered his reaction.
To pulling her out the car.
Yeah, she didn't do anything attitude or being sassy. She didn't curse him or anything. I mean, so
she didn't. And again, I think it was definitely excessive. More force was used than what was. It was not necessary. There was no need to use that type of force to pull her out the car. Where she is
her hand in her car and start messing with her windows and stuff. That's just way too much. It's way too much. That's way over the top, and that's not proper police protocol to reach in somebody's car and start messing with their windows and stuff. And like Sandra Bland, he told her to cut the music down and was all that stuff and was you couldn't smoke, don't smoke, and cut. It's like. Yeah, this is my vehicle. You can't just
tell me what I can and can't do.
And just come up on me on a traffic stop and run my life from outside my window. And that's kind of the tactics they tend to use sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and Carl, and as we end the podcast, I think one of the main things from this is that don't let your attitude control your emotions, or don't let your emotions control your attitude.
Certainly.
Because at the end of the day, there's consequences on the citizen's part. There's consequences on the officer's part.
Absolutely.
But this is a thing that, and I've told a lot of police officers that you need to get off of this mountain that you're sitting on or standing on. That when you tell somebody something, by God, they better do it. And my thing of it is we're all grown adults.
Right.
And at the end of the day,
if
you tell another grown man or a grown woman, I'm ordering you and telling you what to do, somebody's going to say, listen, I'm not your boy.
Right. Right.
You can talk to me in a respectful way.
Certainly.
But don't disrespect me. And I always tell officers this, Carl, you could be on the other side of that traffic stop, and how would you like to be treated? And if that was your mother or your sister, how would you want he or she to be treated? And if you would not do that to your mother, or if you would not do that to your sister or somebody in your family, don't do it to somebody else. Think about that. You would not want another police officer treating your sister that way. You would be even if you're the police and you're going to say, man, you shouldn't have done my sister that way. Well, man, your sister, she should have did this and she should have did that. Sure. At the end of the day, we need to get off of this power trip that we're on to say, I'm the police. I'm telling you what to do. And if you don't do it, I'm going to arrest you because now you're interfering with my traffic stop.
That's right.
Come on. I mean, at the end, this is why people especially in the Black community don't like the police.
Right.
The Black community wants the police, but they want good policing. And the thing that I hope
the community wants the people who police in their neighborhoods to be more reflective of the neighborhood, if you will.
That, and also just be mindful. Everybody is dealing with something that you don't know. And you may give that mother a ticket and now she's got to figure out a way. Hey, I can't pay my daycare copay because I got to pay a ticket. You don't know somebody's financial situation. So again, I call it procedural policing. Really look at how you're impacting people's lives. And even if a person is having a bad day, how do you turn that bad day into something that they can drive away with and say, thank you for helping me. Thank you for treating me with respect.
Certainly.
And again, this is what those police officers need to do. But we got a lot of young police officers who not everybody is like that, Carl. But again, I think it is upon training, it is upon agency heads to say, listen, that's not how we want to see our police officers act. Let's not, yeah, was she wrong? Okay, you can say she was wrong. But at the end of the day, it was a traffic ticket. It wasn't like she had committed a murder or something. It was a traffic ticket.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I agree, sir.
Yeah. Well, Carl, as always, brother, it is a pleasure to get you to come on the podcast and to talk with me about these informative topics. And it's good
always a pleasure, Chief. Always a pleasure.
I mean, you're a man in radio, but you have a wealth of knowledge. And it's good to hear a citizen's perspective about this, and not just another person in policing to say, "Hey, yeah, this is what." No, they were right. So it's always good to have that balance, because again, are police officers always right? No. Are citizens always right? No. How do we come to a middle to understand to where we don't see another viral video like that?
Certainly, that's the point. We definitely need to get to that place as soon as possible, for sure.
Exactly.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Chief, man. Of course, been watching you over the years as you've been ascending with this show, You and the Law podcast, doing great things, and it's always a pleasure to be a part of the show. Always here when you need me.
All right, man. I appreciate it. And again, if you missed any parts of this podcast tonight, as we talked about, a ticket, a takedown, and a trust crisis, you can catch this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can or go to our YouTube. And if you do not follow us on YouTube, it doesn't cost you anything, Carl. It's free. All you got to do is go click that subscribe button and follow You and the Law podcast. And actually tonight I had thought about putting this on TikTok, but I didn't set everything up to put it on TikTok. But because again, I think, the more people hear about these topics, the more engaged people will be. But again, Carl, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and join me as we talked about this informative topic. And remind everybody, make sure you tune in next Thursday, because it's definitely going to be another informative topic on You and the Law podcast. But Carl, let everybody know, if they don't know anything about Kaleidoscope Radio Network, let them know how they can tune in to your network.
Well, Kaleidoscope Radio Network is the largest digital broadcasting network in the state of Oklahoma. And you can go to www.crn.fm. And right next to me is where you'll be. We have a variety of stations. We have old school. We have jazz. We have Southern soul. We have a gospel. We have a Blaze 420 AM that serves the cannabis community. So we have a wide variety of music. And, of course, we're on all social media. And we've been doing this for a very, very long time. I am absolutely in love with radio. I grew up back in the day being in the studio with my dad. My dad was on radio and TV here in Oklahoma City. I just basically followed in his footsteps. So Kaleidoscope Radio Network is my baby. And we're almost 2 decades in now. Been a lot of places, had a lot of fun. And, of course, get to meet great people like yourself, because that's where I met you, was in radio.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we were working for the same company. And, of course, you were one of my regular guests on the Open Mic Talk Show, which still do the show. And you were one of our regular guests on. And we formed a great friendship and known you for a long time. You're an outstanding gentleman. It's
been going on over 20 years, man.
Long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to say, man, we got to talk about, getting the hottest law enforcement podcast on the Kaleidoscope Radio Network, man. So
absolutely.
So more people can hear about You and the Law podcast.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it. Always a pleasure to be with you, Chief, and looking forward to some more outstanding content on You and the Law.
All right, then, man. I appreciate it. Everybody, again, thank you for tuning in to tonight's podcast. And make sure you tune in next Thursday right here on You and the Law podcast. Everybody have a good night.
That's a wrap on this episode of You and the Law podcast. We've got more eye-opening conversations and hard-hitting insights coming your way. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and stay ready because the next episode might just change the way you see law enforcement forever.